Hey guys, time for Tech News Day.
So one of our favorite bits of internet jargon, which we unfortunately keep finding new uses for, is milkshake duck.
Sounds delicious.
If you're not familiar with the term, it originates from a June 2016 tweet by comedy Twitter account Pixelated Boat, which read, "The whole internet loves milkshake duck, a lovely duck that drinks milkshakes." 5 seconds later. We regret to inform you that the duck is racist. The milkshake duck is a useful term because it gives a name to something that happens all too often. The internet falls in love with someone or something and then finds out that the thing or person they fell in love with has a dark and shitty side, sometimes in the course of just a few hours.
Because they took Ambien. But as the term milkshake duck has taken on a life of its own, though, its meaning has expanded a bit to also describe having a similar realization about someone or something you've admired for a long time. Recent examples include Killer Mike from Run the Jewels appearing in an NRA video on the day of nationwide protests against gun violence. Not especially his fault, but not poor timing. It was orchestrated timing by the NRA.
Bad optics.
Bad optics. Kanye West inexplicably embracing Donald Trump and various things from the alt-right movement. And then Roseanne tweeting out some super racist shit. I mean, we knew Roseanne had done terrible things in the past, but money wins, and ABC created a sitcom they had to come back to. But anyway, however, all of these were only surprising or shocking if you weren't really paying attention before.
Yeah, which brings us to Elon Musk, who this past week became many people's latest milkshake duck after years of being held in the highest esteem as the coolest businessman on earth, for revolutionizing electric cars and shooting rockets into space, all while having the time to goof around with flamethrowers.
And dig tunnels through Los Angeles.
Turns out, Elon Musk is kind of an ass, at least on Twitter. But again, none of this is really surprising if you were actually paying attention and not just jacking off to the idea of a real-life Tony Stark.
So what happened? Well, this all went down on Twitter, a website where people compete to see who can needlessly damage their own reputation the most. And not to be confused with Medium.com, the website where people apologize for the shitty things they say on Twitter. Anyway, Elon Musk, cool CEO that he is a pretty active Twitter user and often responds directly to journalists and news outlets to correct them when they write something incorrect about him or his company. Until recently, this was something that people loved. Yeah, get him, Elon.
Owned.
Yeah.
Elon owned those journalists. There is, however, a difference between pointing out journalistic inaccuracy and going on a multi-day Twitter tantrum crusade about how the media in general is a bunch of unaccountable liars intentionally spreading misinformation. Basically, Tesla's been getting some not-so-great press coverage of late for stuff like the Model 3 having brake issues after production of the car went through a bunch of problems already. And then there's Tesla factory workers wanting to unionize and Musk pushing back against that idea. And then, of course, multiple examples of Tesla autopilots resulting in car crashes. So Musk obviously isn't happy about this kind of negative coverage of his company, but he's taken things a step further and insinuated that there's some kind of press conspiracy against him and his company.
Grimes introduced him to marijuana. That's the only reasonable excuse.
Big if true.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the real story. We don't want to get lumped in with the journalists who are just saying inflammatory things. He might not smoke marijuana. Last Tuesday, Musk tweeted in response to an article about Tesla's stock price being affected by media negativity, saying, "The holier-than-thou hypocrisy of big media companies who lay claim to the truth but publish only enough to sugarcoat the lie is why the public no longer respects them." Note how Musk isn't talking about specific coverage here, just Jamija. This big, all-encompassing attack on news media in general was further highlighted when various journalists across the world, of course, responded that this was a dumb take, and then Musk doubled down with responses like, "Oh hey, another sanctimonious media person who thinks he's above criticism. Try being truthful and the public will believe you again."
Yeah, that guy was like a reporter for some newspaper in like South Carolina. Get him, Elon!
Yeah, you really showed him.
Yeah, so instead of, I don't know, getting off Twitter and going back to running one of his multiple companies.
And just letting it all blow over.
Instead of doing that, Elon kept on going throughout the day. Problem is, journos are under constant pressure to get max clicks and earn advertising dollars or get fired. Tricky situation as Tesla doesn't advertise, but fossil fuel companies and gas and diesel car companies are among the world's biggest advertisers.
He's not exactly wrong at that point.
Yeah, so okay, it's an interesting take, but it's also a lazy take. So Consumer Reports, who denied the Tesla 3.0 recommendation based on the shitty brakes that they tested a bunch of times, they're a non-profit with no ads. Similarly, one of the biggest and most thorough critiques of Tesla factory conditions came from Reveal, a site that's run by the non-profit Center for Investigative Journalism. So not a whole lot of ways for big oil to influence here, aside from I guess outright bribery.
Yeah.
That's a big accusation, though.
But, fuck that logic, because when ProPublica journalist Jessica Huseman tweeted, "Oh, is that the problem, Elon? Reveal is a non-profit suffering from none of these problems. The ignorance this man displays daily of the journalism process is truly astounding." Musk replied, "No, they're just some rich kids in Berkeley who took their political science professor too seriously." Yeah, you read that correctly. A billionaire just called the writers for one of America's most respected nonprofit investigative journalism outlets rich kids.
This is rich.
Yeah.
You know what's rich? This. And even for the for-profit news on that side of things, one response to Musk pointed out, "And yet, journos are very willing to pursue stories that burn advertisers and other financial benefactors. The Wall Street Journal published the investigation that destroyed Theranos, even though Rupert Murdoch was Theranos' biggest investor, $125 million. Good point. To which Musk replied, "An exception that proves the rule."
Aha!
Okay. So one Elon Musk fan replied to one of these various tweets saying, "I'm a fan of yours since reading the Wait But Why pieces, but I'm really unhappy with tweets like this. Fanning the flames of the distrust of the media is the thing that authoritarians and demagogues do to ignore criticism and discredit opponents. It's a major problem of our times." To which Musk replied, "The media has earned this mistrust, but maybe there's a solution."
Well, the solution, of course, came not long after. Going to create a site where the public can rate the core truth of any article and track the credibility score over time of each journalist, editor, and publication. Thinking of calling it Pravda. Ah, yes, Pravda, the word for truth in multiple Eastern European languages. Also the name of the USSR's official newspaper of the Communist Party. Go on. Musk followed that up with a very scientific assessment of whether this was a good idea. Something official that no one could argue against. A Twitter poll. Create a media credibility rating site that also flags propaganda botnets. That was the question, with the overwhelming majority of respondents choosing yes, this would be good, and not no, media are awesome.
Well, that settles it then. I mean, never mind the fact that FactCheck, PolitiFact, and Snopes already fucking exist and do a fine job pointing out lies. Elon Musk is here to solve fake news once and for all, despite literally having a blatant financial stake in how he and his company are reported on. Even better, instead of actually fact-checking the news media based on objective truths, let's let the people decide which news is true or false based on how they feel about the news.
Oh, that'll go really well.
Yeah, for fuck's sake, Elon, truth is not defined by fucking upvotes and downvotes, and honestly, that's a way more dystopian version of journalism than the one we have, where sometimes journalists get things wrong.
Yes. Also, maybe your company is being singled out because you're making products that are new and different and openly try to disrupt and innovate the auto industry. You can't be simultaneously a totally unique company in a category of its own while also demanding to be seen as just another car company. The media reports on every time one of your cars crash while in autonomous mode because autonomous cars are a very new thing that should be and are open to criticism and debate. And also, you're kind of one of the only companies doing it in a very big way.
Yeah. And perhaps you should familiarize yourself with the Streisand effect. See, a whole lot more people are now hearing about all of this valid criticism of you and your company because you won't put the fucking phone down and just accept that billionaires and publicly traded companies get criticized. A lot. It's just a thing.
You gotta be soulless and not care. All the biggest, best companies have people in charge that have no souls.
Yeah.
You just can't
It's
care.
a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Yeah, having a presence on Twitter where you show the world that you're a relatable dude who just so happens to also launch cars into space, that's cool. But it becomes a lot less cool and a lot more cringy when you're on there all day acting like the world's worst PR rep, calling journalists elitists while sitting in your billion-dollar house. It's just not a good look.
Also, it's a fact at this point that the more someone engages on social media, the more likely they are going to say something very stupid, irresponsible, self-destructive. And we got that here in the form of a tweet appearing to endorse both a sex cult and another that some interpreted as a wink to, anti-Semites. At one point, Jen's Eric Gould, editor-in-chief of the Knife Media, tweeted his support of Musk and pointed out one of his own articles, which Musk would presumably approve of. Musk tweeted in response, "This analysis is excellent, applies principles of critical thinking." Except instead of just writing critical thinking, he fucking linked to the Wikipedia article for critical thinking.
Have you heard of this? Anyway, turns out the Knife Media, who published the one Elon Musk news story with enough critical thinking to earn Elon Musk's Pravda seal of approval, it actually already has a major section of their website devoted to rating the truthfulness of news coverage, and they're also closely affiliated with an actual fucking sex cult. Specifically, Nexium, the one who just had a bunch of members arrested for human trafficking, including a woman who once had a role on Smallville. When Upworthy writer Parker Malloy pointed out, dude, the article he praised was written by a literal cult, Musk replied, sadly it had better critical analysis than most non-cult media.
I mean, you could have just stopped at Musk replied and I would have had my mind blown. But wow.
This is like, it's like, so have you ever noticed how most Amazon product questions, they're written by old people who get an email from Amazon saying like, hey, can you answer these questions? They think like,
oh, finally.
They're like, oh, I'm being asked for my opinion about something.
Yeah.
So they reply to shit and just be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Elon Musk, maybe he thinks he has to reply to every tweet about him.
Yeah. It's strange and disheartening. But like we said, there was also a whole anti-Semitism angle that popped up during Musk's multi-day Twitter tantrum. Journalist Joshua Topolsky of The Outline jumped in at one point and tweeted, "You're very smart, so I want you to think about this for a second. Do you think it's in the interest of powerful people to A, support a free press that exposes their lies, or B, tear it down so their lies are easier to tell? Now, ask yourself why the polls would look bad." To which Musk replied, "Who do you think owns the press? Hello." Now, look, Elon Musk almost certainly didn't mean the Jews here, but he's also smart enough to know that that could be interpreted, since an alarming number of people literally do believe that controls the media is the Jews. And those people showed up in droves to let Elon Musk know that they interpreted that nod and a wink in his tweet exactly that way and approved of how based their space Jesus was.
Yeah, so seriously, the replies on that tweet were gross. They still are, but I think a lot of those accounts got shut down, but they're still pretty gross and alarming. And at the very least, Elon, he could have issued, I don't know, a clarification that wasn't just, you're the real anti-Semite for thinking that's what I meant, because that's what he did. The best take on that whole weird turn.
No, you!
The best take on the whole weird turn into Nazi territory there came from Twitter user @Quendergear, great name, who wrote, "Look, I'm not saying Elon Musk is a Nazi. I'm just saying that a lot of the thousands of Nazis who follow him for some reason were really excited when he asked who controls the media."
Yeah. It's like how, it's honestly like how I really don't think that PewDiePie is a white supremacist. But he certainly had a lot of great press from white supremacist outlets and accounts when he had his mess ups repeatedly.
It's like the old Simpsons joke about Fox News. Fox News, not racist, but number 1 with racists.
Yeah. It's not essentially their fault, but you don't lean into it.
Yeah.
Even on accident.
Even better, actively avoid it.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, that was just the cherry on top of a great case study into why rich and famous people should probably just stay the hell off Twitter and not try to be their own PR rep.
It's especially stupid when you remember that Tesla is a publicly traded company, and there's already at least a few big shareholders who have gone on record saying they want Elon Musk removed from the board of directors. Much like Travis Kalanick created Uber only to be kicked out of his own company after repeatedly making them look bad. I mean, we've got hours of episodes about that. Elon Musk spending all day on Twitter picking fights with journalists, not great for investor confidence, especially while Tesla owners are actually winning class action lawsuits in federal court over Autopilot being falsely advertised and new examples of Autopilot fucking up, popping up on a regular basis. I understand it. If every car crash made the news, these wouldn't look so bad. But the thing is, it's new technology and people kind of want to be scared by it. So there's
also, it's new technology and the people behind it should be held accountable for it.
Yes, we should know about these incidences so that we can prove that the companies will improve on this technology and not just slip it under the rug.
This is the reason we have seatbelts in cars and airbags. People like Ralph Nader.
They're just trying to hold you down.
People like Ralph Nader, before he was a presidential candidate, were actively investigating how fucking dangerous cars were to the point where the law
now we gotta spend
safety.
dozens of dollars on every car putting safety belts in.
Yeah. So it's good. Be held accountable.
We like Tesla. We like SpaceX. We mostly like Elon Musk, but the whole saga here is a bad look. And as we say time and time again, sing it with me.
What should you do when shit hits the fan? Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. It's a great song.
Yeah, and it's everything you need to know.
Yeah. So I miss the old Elon.
I miss the old Elon.
But you know who I also miss? Phil Lariga, who's back after being away last week. But he's also sick, so I don't know. Despite his illness, we forced him to record a segment this week anyway, but away from us, so he doesn't get those germs in our beautiful set.
We'll probably
film it in quarantine.
Breathing mold in here at some point.
Yeah, asbestos. But let's see what he's got.
Hey guys,
for
we
us.
did as best as we could do with the new studio.
All right, Phil, give us as best as you can for some more news.
It's 2018, and by now, pretty much any smart device you own has the capability to listen to you. Sometimes it's some pretty impressive Jetsons level shit, you know, like the first half of an episode of Black Mirror when everything's cool before it all comes crashing down. You know, but then there's the back half of the episode where the government might be spying on you. Seems like a pretty even trade-off to me. Well, a Portland woman, identified only as Danielle, disagrees. In a bizarro situation, Danielle and her husband were having a conversation, which their Amazon Echo, recorded and sent to one of his employees. Oops. The employee called this couple and immediately was like, hey guys, you guys are being hacked and you should unplug all your Amazon Echoes. My first red flag is like, how many of these fucking things do you have? Anyway, Amazon responded to them with this statement. Echo woke up due to a word in background conversation sounding like Alexa. Then subsequent conversation was heard as a send message request, at which point Alexa said out loud to whom, at which point the background conversation was interpreted as a name in the customer's contact list. Alexa then asked out loud, contact name, right? Alexa then interpreted background conversation as right. As unlikely as this string of events is, we are evaluating options to make this case even less likely. That sounds like a really convoluted dog ate my homework bullshit excuse right there, but I actually think that's what happened. I don't think Amazon gives a shit about you and your boring conversations with you and your wife, and then you're gonna go, hey, let's mess with them and send it to some rando in their contact list. But who knows if the FBI is listening, which has been rumored in the past, and it's not just Amazon. If you remember when Google made public all the recordings on your phone, when you said the trigger word, which I won't do now because you probably are watching this on your phone, when you ask the assistant for something, they store all that. And the Google stuff we covered on the show last year, but if you haven't yet, you should go back and listen to yourself ask Google for things and directions and to call people. And it's really creeping and depressing to hear your voice and how dumb you sound. So you should go delete your audio history, and we'll put a link down in the description below so you can do that. Moving on to routers. They're weird because the average person doesn't really give a shit about theirs unless their internet's down. Well, today is the day everybody should think of their router and see if it's full of malware that's stealing your info and infecting all your friends with it. So the FBI, the same people who might be listening to you through your Amazon Echo, they're advising everyone who has any of these 14 routers on this list, you should restart them because they may contain Russian-engineered malware. Wow. Ars Technica reports that VPN Filter is a malware that allowed attackers to collect communications, launch attacks on others, and permanently destroy the devices with a single command. That is some James Bond shit right there. The bummer here is that there's different stages of how infected you can be with this malware. So if you just reboot your router, boom, if you're to stage 2 or a stage 3 infection, you're good. But if you're to stage 1 infection, you have to do a full factory reset. You know, when you get the paper clip and you bend it open and you turn your router around, you stick it in there, and then it resets it, and you're gonna have to go put like that long password in, so you have to do the long bullshit password. I mean, that's one way. The other thing, to be 100% safe against this malware, you should change your default password, change your remote access, and disable UPnP, but am I kidding? Fuck it, to be 100% safe, just throw your router in the garbage and stop using the internet. And finally, Bitcoin. The best part about Bitcoin is regardless of whether you have a lot of it or absolutely none of it, it's giving you anxiety because you're either gonna go broke one way or the other. I mean, cryptocurrency is super volatile regardless of whether it's Bitcoin or any other ones. So what was worth 20K in December is worth $7,000 now. And maybe nothing tomorrow, who knows? Life is hell. Another scam is spoofing, when someone puts in 2 really big orders for buying and selling at different prices, which manipulate the price, causing other people to like buy or sell, and then the prick who put in those 2 big orders cancels one, but then they get to kind of manipulate the market. That's one. And then another one is a pump and dump scheme, when a group of people get together and they go, hey, we're all gonna buy this Bitcoin, they drive the price up, They sell it when it's real high, and then as it comes crashing down because they manipulated the market, they buy it when it's low, and they get rich, and somehow you lose. See, Bitcoin can be fun. I'm kidding, life is hell. These tactics have been used to manipulate stocks. Like, hey, remember that movie Boiler Room or Wolf of Wall Street? Kind of like that. Well, the Department of Justice and CFTC are working to finally maybe regulate crypto, and even the SEC is trying to get on board because they're doing a bang-up job with the stock market. But all the regulation in the world won't stop people looking to make it rich while getting scammed for like $32 million in an ICO for Centra, a cryptocurrency backed by DJ Khaled and Floyd Mayweather. Look, I'm not gonna say, that you deserve to be scammed out of your money if you hope to get rich following a guy who just shouts his own name on hip-hop tracks and a boxer who posts this tweet. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm sure you are in the comments below. And that's Rap Fact. Rap Fact. DJ Khaled on the Rap Fact. He didn't say it? Still a Rap Fact.
All right, thanks, Phil. Get some damn rest. Anyways, before we go, we got a quick word from this week's sponsor, who is not the big oil companies. It is Udemy.
It's Udemy. I finally figured it. So it's like Academy, Udemy.
Udemy.
It only took like 6 weeks. We learned it.
Yeah, but you guys have been along on the journey of us learning how to say this word. It makes it fun for this sponsor. Udemy. Say it with us. Udemy. The largest marketplace for online learning. What want to expand your potential? With over 65,000 courses starting at just $11.99, Udemy can help you develop your skills and discover new passions. Students around the world have used Udemy to get ahead and even switch careers. Visit ude.my/newsday or download the Udemy app to learn anytime, anywhere, and now you know how to say it.
Great read.
We're going to be doing a live stream Thursday afternoon at some point where we announce our new channel coming to actual existence.
Yeah.
We have some Patreon news. We sat yesterday and had a few beers and discussed some actual goals and then big goals that are jokes. So please don't buy them. But if you do, there's going to be something in it for you. Anyways, Patreon, new channel launches, Idiots Watching Anime this weekend. I think we're going to start up with content on Monday morning, and then we're going to be slowly moving stuff from this channel over to that channel. So if you want to subscribe now in advance, please click the link below in the description. That will take you to our new channel. No content on there yet, but we would love for you to go there and subscribe so that when we launch Idiots Watching Anime, you are the first to see it, you're the first to share it, and we'd really like to get some good views on this video and start the channel off right. So, starting next week, more regular content there, moving content from here over to there over the next course of a month or so, but you have to be the first to be there. Thank you for watching our shows. Thank you for watching us all these years. Continue us into our next journey. We're gonna be here for a little while longer, but please join us.
Yeah, come along.
It's up to you to keep food in our mouths.
I bet you won't.
Mm-hmm. And we're not getting any sponsors from those big oil companies, so it's getting hard out here for a couple YouTubers.
All right, watch a new episode of Tugs.
Boom.
It was a fun one.
And also, my prediction about Solo was right. So go in there and bask in my glory on Newsdom.
Right again.
Mm-hmm. Bye.